Welcome grade 6. In this lesson we will be learning materials and their structures, unit 2, and the topic is 2.2 changing states. Learner book page number 35 to 40 and workbook page number 21 to 25. Let's start the lesson. The learning objectives are to practice measuring the volume and the temperature of a liquid. Number 2, to learn what happens when matter changes state. Number 3, to investigate the temperature increase when you heat water. These are the 3 learning objectives that we are going to learn today. The keywords are axis. Axis means the reference line drawn on a graph that you can measure from to find values. Boil means to heat something strongly so that it begins to change from a liquid to a gas. Boiling point, the temperature at which liquid change to gas. Change of state, the changes between different states of matter from solid to liquid, from liquid to gas. Condensation, the process of changing from a gas to a liquid. Evaporation, the process of changing from a liquid to a gas. Freeze, the process by which a liquid changes to a solid. And measuring cylinder means a tall, narrow piece of glassware used for measuring the volume of liquids. Melt, when a solid changes to a liquid. Melting point, the temperature at which a solid melts. Meniscus, the slight curve in the surface of a liquid where it meets the side of the container. I will show you in the diagram. Steam, the hot gas produced when water boils. Thermometer, a piece of apparatus used to measure temperature. Water vapor, a gas formed by the little droplet of water that exists in the air at the temperature of the air. Now, we have a starter question. Draw 3 diagrams to show the particle structure of a solid, a liquid, and gas. Recall the properties of each state of matter. Now you can see the solid, the particles are very close to each other. In liquids, the particles have little space between each other. In terms of gases, the particles are very far from each other. So you have to use this knowledge to answer this question. So if I were a particle in solid, if heated, I would gain energy and vibrate faster. Vibrate means to move to and fro, okay, to move up and down at the same axis. I would be held strongly with neighboring particles. This would be my other property. I could be ice, wood, or metal. For example, I would not have a lot of energy. I would be arranged in a fixed pattern because all the particles would be very close to each other. I would be in a fixed position. I would just vibrate, so all the particles would vibrate on their axis. I would keep the same shape and volume. Why? Because the particles of the solid hold each other with a very strong attractive forces. It would be very hard for you to compress me. Now, if I were a particle in liquid, what would I be? If heated, I would gain energy and move more freely. I would be able to move and flow. But you know that a solid can flow from one place, a liquid can flow from one place to another place. I could be water, syrup, or milk, for example. I would have a moderate amount of energy. I would be more randomly arranged than in a solid. That is why we say that when you pour a liquid in a cylinder, it takes the shape of the cylinder because the particles are little bit far from each other. I would not have a fixed shape. I would have a fixed volume. I would be close to neighboring particles but able to move over them. I would be hard for you. It would be very hard for you to compress me. Now, if I were a particle in gas, what would I be? If cooled, I would lose energy and move more slowly. I would be spread apart from other particles. I could be oxygen, smoke, or steam, for example. It would be easy to compress me. I would weight little. I would have a lot of energy. I would fill any enclosed container, and I would be moving very fast in all different directions, and I would be able to move freely and changing states. Now here, students, there are some words for you which are very important to know them. These words are melting point, water vapor, evaporation, boiling point, and condensation. So now let's discuss them one by one. If you leave ice in a warm place, it will become liquid. So we can say that the ice will melt to become a liquid water when you place them in a warm place. Okay, so now the temperature at which the solid melts is called the melting point. Let's see the second example. Water on the ground will gradually disappear as it changes to water vapor. Now if you put the water in the ground, slowly and gradually the water's amount will become lesser. Why? Because the water changes to vapor. Now vapor is a type of gas which is invisible. Now this process is called evaporation. Okay, now third example. If you heat the water until its temperature reaches 100 degrees Celsius, it will boil. All of the water rapidly changes to steam. Now steam is water heated to the point that it turns into a gas. So when you heat water up to 100 degrees Celsius, then the water changes to gas. Okay, so the temperature at which the water changes from liquid form to the gas form is known as boiling point. Next, if the water vapor or steam touches something cold, it condenses. Means when the water vapor or the water steam touches some ice or some other cold thing, what happens? Its temperature reduces. It is known as condensation, and when its temperature reduces, it is changed into the liquid form. So when a gas changes to liquid form, then it is known as condensation. Why condensation happens? Because of the reduction of, so the temperature is reduced and the gas is converted to liquid form. If you put a liquid water in a freezer, it freezes and become ice. Okay, so once the temperature of the liquid is reduced, it will freeze and it will become ice. Okay, this all is known as changes of states in matter. You can see evaporation, melting, boiling in this picture. Now see ice. When the ice melts, it changes to water. When the water is boiled, it changes to steam. Now when you condense the steam, it will become liquid, and when you freeze the liquid, it will become ice. So now from solid to liquid, it is melting. From liquid to gas, it is called boiling. From gas to liquid, it is called condensing, and from liquid to solid, it is called freezing. Measuring the volume. When you want to measure the volume of a liquid, you use a measuring cylinder. This is called measuring cylinder. Now when you pour the liquid here, it will form a curve at the top. This curve is called the meniscus. How you will measure it? You will place your eyes in front of the meniscus and then you will take the measurement. So you measure the volume from the bottom of the meniscus. Okay? To do this, you must make sure that your eye is in the level with the meniscus. Now this is a cylinder. You have to find out how much water is here. So you can see this is 0, this is 10, and this is 20. Now each degree is 2 milliliters. So how much is this? 10, 12, 14, 16. Now this is 18 and the meniscus is between 18 and 16. So your reading must be 17 milliliters. Look at these diagrams and what is the volume of water in each measuring cylinder. So we have to find the volume. So you have to put your eye here. This is the meniscus. So how much is it? 20, 21, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the answer is 28 centimeter cube. Find for the rest of the cylinders. Now measuring the temperature. Temperature is measured by a device called thermometer. Okay. Now there is a liquid inside the thermometer. Okay. When a thermometer gets hotter, this liquid starts expanding. This liquid starts to rise up inside the thermometer because the liquid is placed inside the thermometer, and when you place the thermometer in some hot place, that liquid starts to expand, starts to rise up. So that rise up is then measured and it is known as the temperature degrees. Now you have to keep in mind one thing. Make sure that your eye is level with the top of the liquid in the thermometer. Now you can see 3 diagrams. Okay, the temperature of London, Edinburgh and Cardiff. So you have to measure the temperature in degrees Celsius. So what is for London? You can see here. Let's check it. So your eye should be here. So what does it make? 9 degrees Celsius. And what is the temperature here? 4 degrees Celsius. What is the temperature here? 8 degrees Celsius. Now we have 3 thermometers, A, B and C. You have to find the temperature. Now if you look here, the level is here. So this is 20, 21, 22, 23 and 24. So the temperature of A is 24 degrees Celsius. Let's check it. It is 24 degrees Celsius. So you have to do for B and C as well. Now it's research time. What is the process by which water on Earth evaporates into water vapor, condenses to form clouds and then falls back to the ground as rain or snow? So you have to Google it. It's called water cycle. High order thinking question. Steve fills a plastic syringe with 20 ml of air. He puts his finger over the open end and pushes down the plunger. Now this is called the plunger, this one. When Steve can't push the plunger any further, the scale shows there is 5 milliliter of air in the syringe. Why is the volume of air smaller at the end of the investigation? So the answer is the air in the syringe was compressed, so it had a smaller volume.